it's so interesting that the kinds of metaphors and explanations emerge in various ways. So um, I don't know if you remember the biologist. He was a reproductive biologist. He spent some time in Plexus. He was British. Jack Cohen. Do you remember Jack?
Mm-mm, mm-mm.
So he was this just outrageous, iconoclastic reproductive biologist who spent a little bit of time at about the same time that Csikszentmihalyi came into the Plexus circle. Jack did as well. But Jack decided that he'd been working with a mathematician, Ian Stewart, for years, wrote The Collapse of Chaos and some other really great books, the two of them together. But Jack became convinced that he and this mathematician were not going to be able to do the work, name the core of complexity, that it would take some other perspective to do it. So we were all at a meeting one time, and he decided that he and I and a guy from the Rand Corporation, who was an algorithmic AI person,
Mhm.
that the three of us should be able to do it. Him with his biology, me with my physics, and this guy with his computer science should be able to do it. So he paid for us to come out to LA and spend a couple of days together
Wow.
thinking about and talking about it. And he talked about it as if that thing that we're all trying to describe, but from different perspectives. Um, and it was one of the most fun and most frustrating times of my life, because he's a biologist, so he's about taxonomies. And he'd say, oh, there are these categories, and this is how things sort out, and this is how things go in order. And Bob, the guy from the Rand Corporation, was going like, oh, these are algorithms. We need an algorithm that will work throughout pairs of algorithms that are testing each other and all this really interesting stuff. And I was saying, no, really, it's like a nonlinear dynamical system. And there are a couple three-dimensional nonlinear equations that are generating these strange attractors, and that perspective was the one that I had. And we had such a great time comparing and contrasting. And finally, at the end of the 2 days, said, no, it's not going to happen. It's not going to
But
happen. And so we walked away.
the
We all
interesting,
learned a lot.
yeah.
We all learned a lot and came to build even more respect for each other. But no, there was not no Rosetta Stone there.
Well, the thing what I love about your story is uh, if you get interested and dig deep into the complexity sciences from whatever point of view, you can talk to them. You can have a good conversation with somebody, a spiritual leader that's gone deep into the complexity of life, a physicist, a mathematician, a brain scientist. It's and at least in my experience, if they get into a little bit into liberating structures, they'll go, oh yeah, that came from my discipline. That they see it in there, and we have a shared, if not exactly the same language, we are describing the same thing.
Mm. One of the ways I've chosen to describe it recently is that it's like trying to describe love. So you can have a haiku or a sonnet or a 600-page novel or a picture or a dance, that they're all talking about love. None of them catches it entirely, and yet there's a shared meaning that's there. And that each of us, no matter how different our languages are, we're simply using different media to describe this thing that is beyond our words.
This group, the Canadian group, the STOA, it's out of Toronto, and we did a thing the other night, and I don't know if they invited me, but it is what I wanted to do, to talk about the aesthetics and how is it that with liberating structures we explore or seek wisdom. And so all the language that we've been developing in the community itself needed to be used. And it doesn't really, it's important to show what the language is. Like we talk about simultaneous mutual shaping. Okay, it's just 3 words, but it's a way to describe how in every moment we're adapting. Every gesture, every phrase suggests another one that's going to be not expected and somewhat of a surprise. We talk about creative adaptability. And the beauty that we're seeking is clarity about the next step we're going to take in shaping the future. And I was just challenged to try to describe aesthetics around the work we're doing, how we look for the inconspicuous detail, how it arises out of interaction and relationship, and go as far as I could with what language has emerged out of the practitioner community. And there's real limits to it. The other one, Glenda, maybe you've heard this, but we call it confusiasm. In the moment of making sense out of whatever it is and whatever challenge is being faced, some amount of confusion and enthusiasm unfold and give you a fuzzy picture of something that you sort of gain confidence that we can make things a little better. Or it's not even that specific, but all of those are attempts to get at words that we can use to suggest what it is, which it's endlessly fascinating to me. And so I really don't try to do that very much. I don't try to describe it, but I do like to hear how other people describe it. That's the best. Like, what do you think it is, this thing we're doing?